Yesterday, former Republican presidential campaign manager Steve Schmidt said this: U.S. senators defending Trump's bribery and extortion plot are accomplices, not dupes. When the defense rests on a misinformation campaign launched by the Russian intelligence services, it makes them useful idiots. Today, one Republican senator refused to be a useful idiot.
I saw no evidence from our intelligence community, nor from the representatives today from the Department of State, that there is any evidence of any kind that suggests that Ukraine interfered in our elections. We have ample evidence that Russia interfered in our elections.
Joining our discussion now is Steve Schmidt, former Republican strategist and MSNBC political analyst. Steve, when Mitt Romney says it, it just seems so easy to say. It seems so clear. And yet, where are the rest of the Republican senators?
It's extraordinary to see in this moment an entire Republican congressional majority capitulate their oath to Donald Trump, that there's obviously no higher cause for them, not country, not the Constitution, not their oath, than service to Donald Trump. And it's alarming. We saw a poll that got a lot of attention on Twitter today. It was an August poll from Pew, and it talked about that 43% of Republicans now believe that it's okay to get rid of the checks and balances, that it would be good if the president wasn't so encumbered by Congress or by the courts to enact his will, to enact his legislation. And there's a word for a leader who has that power. It's a dictator. It's anathema to the American experiment. And we have never, in this country, Lawrence, ever seen anything like it. And so putting aside for a second the corruption, the bribery and extortion scheme, as bad as that is, the real crisis is this rising sense of authoritarianism in the country and its acceptance by so many Republicans, not to mention the leaders we invest with very significant authority and power in Washington, D.C. Senator Kennedy from Louisiana got on television with Chuck Todd, and he echoed word for word Russian propaganda. He cited things that were simply not true. He cited evidence in The Economist and other magazines that never occurred, echoing a Russian misinformation campaign. This man is a United States senator who swore an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States, who's doing the bidding of a hostile foreign power. We are in uncharted territory, and nobody should underestimate how profoundly dangerous it is.
There has been, I think, no Republican senator who has given up more of himself to Donald Trump than Lindsey Graham. Let's listen to what Senator Lindsey Graham said when he was endorsing Ted Cruz for president.
Trump would destroy my party because of who he is and the way he behaves.
Steve, he got it right that day.
Well, he's shown himself to be a man of no principle, lacking any type of public integrity, somebody who obviously proximity to power is an aphrodisiac. And what I described him as not too long ago is he's like a pilot fish that hangs around the predator fish like a shark, living off the detritus. And for a long time, he swam next to a noble shark, and that shark was named John McCain. But that shark is gone, and now we have Donald Trump. And though the detritus is vile, he remains well-fed. And so what we see there is one example, but there's many, many more, of principleless politicians in Washington, all of them Republicans in this instance, who their fidelity to Trump, their obedience to him, that is their highest calling. And we should have a particular contempt for those senators who we know better, the Ben Sasses of the world, the Rob Portmans of the world, the John Thunes of the world. Why is it that these men want to be United States senators? what is it that they're doing up there? They stand for office to defend this unprecedented corruption, this assault on the constitutional order, this erosion of civil liberties, this erosion in the American mind of faithfulness to the American experiment. In this country, despite all its flaws, is a miracle. It was a miracle birthed in 1787. No republic has endured permanently. And this one is in trouble because the American people in substantial numbers are losing sight of the majesty of this system of government, which is based on the premise that no man or woman is above the law. In this country, the law is supreme. And we see one of the two great political parties in the country, the third oldest political party in the world, transforming in a matter of 36 months into a cult of personality, where the allegiance isn't to the flag, isn't to the country, isn't to the Constitution, but to a man, to a person, and a corrupt man who is sundering the country and assailing the Constitution literally with every breath he takes.
Steve Schmidt, thank you very much for your eloquence on this tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lawrence.